But in the north, it's very heavy. Do y'all know how to say MFer in the north?
No.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Everybody in here say mother effer every 5 seconds. You don't hear that in Vietnam outside the one Nhậu. You just, because they save face in public. You don't go and make yourself look bad in front of everybody in public.
Yeah.
And you do that by saying bad words. Con nói là ngu như bò.
Như bò.
Say, ủa, mẹ tại sao mẹ bắt con uống sữa bò để thông minh nhưng mà gọi con ngu như bò? So why am I drinking cow's milk to be smart, but you still call me stupid as a cow? People just walk up and give me babies and take pictures of me without asking. Without asking.
You're like eating a sandwich, like, here's a baby.
Hold this.
Hold it, baby.
But it's like I'm not in front of a crowd working as an MC and be like, okay, everybody, hold your chin and cool tight. It's about to get exciting in here.
And squeeze your sphincter.
It's not formal, you know, so.
Hi, back. Yo! Welcome to Nhậu With Us. Today we got
The infamous.
Cack bang, ơi. Phúc Mập, ơi. Happy to be here with you guys.
Bro, we've been wanting you to be here, man, because you know what? You outshine us in Vietnamese, and we just want to tell everybody else that you do.
Well, up to you. I appreciate that.
All day today and yesterday, every time we go past a Vietnamese person, we look bad, don't we? Let's just say it. What's the common comment?
You know what I'm gonna say is, I feel like y'all hold in. You hold it in a little bit more, but there's more to come out. There's more Vietnamese hiding in there that you just don't want to put out there.
So this gentleman here only learned Vietnamese 9 years ago.
oh shit.
Okay. Accelerated his whole Vietnamese. Because the words that he knows is way more complex than me. Because I know, like I was telling him, I know street slang verbiage, right? That's dated.
Yeah. Do we sound weird when we talk Vietnamese?
It sounds a lot different. When I hear a Viet Kieu in Vietnam speaking to someone there, automatically I like pick it out. You know what I mean? It's like when I'm in Kentucky, you know, helping my brother out with his nail salon. I hear someone not from Kentucky. I'm like, where are you from? Because the old ladies would ask me the same thing. They said, why are you speaking the Chinese? Where are you from?
Why are you
You're not from around here, are you? I'm like, well, actually, it's Vietnamese, and no, I'm from Florida, but yeah, you know, thank you.
Speaking of Chinese.
It sounds exactly like that, too. Sorry, ladies, but that's exactly what you say to me.
Are you part Oriental?
You can't be 100% American.
You know, it can't be this way. That's not the way God built it. You know what I mean? It's just such a different, even in America, such a different culture change, right?
Oh yeah.
From one coast to the next to the mid, whatever it is, man. It's like, but you can always tell, like, what Eastern, Middle America, the accent. And I guess us, as being Vietnamese from here, have an accent.
Very much so. And it's not that I can't understand it. You know, I definitely can hear and understand, but there's so many different levels. So you're talking about your level of Vietnamese compared to mine. But, you know, I've been going around to festivals for the last couple of years, you know, in Atlanta, in Missouri, meeting the youth. You know, the Vietnamese that were born and raised here have never been back to Vietnam, and, you know, their level of Vietnamese is so mixed. Some of those kids have good Vietnamese, and other ones, yeah, chào chú. I'm like, chú. I might not have hair, but I'm not that old.
Tell the people that don't know who the hell you are real quick, man.
All right, my boy. So my name is Phúc Mập, or better known as Hurley in America. Obviously, the Hurley hat. My grandma, when she found the Hurley company in the late 90s, whenever it started, that's all she bought for me and my dad and my brother.
Damn,
so
it has your name on it.
I've worn Hurley. But Hurley in America, I moved to Vietnam in 2014, started dating my wife in 2016, and when I met her mother-in-law and called her Che the first time we met, and she chilly folk about that. And I decided to get a private tutor, start studying Vietnamese. And my thing is, I was never that good at math and science. I was better at history and English and grammar, better at remembering things. So picking up the language, when I actually put some time into it, was not that hard. In fact, I pride myself on memorizing vocabulary, memorizing slangs and phrases and things like that. And that led into my YouTube channel, which I started at the end of 2018, the encouragement of my wife, and also now the regret of my wife, now that she sees what happened.
She's like, you know.
This is the product that I built.
She told me, when the first video went viral, she told me, do not come home. And we'd only been married for a little bit at that point, you know, coming up on a year. And 4 months into the channel, I made a video that not only went viral, but it led to me getting my own TV show on Vietnamese television months later.
Oh shit.
Một ngày của Phúc Mập on HTV7. And also getting into a movie 2 years later. The director messaged me directly on Facebook. Said, hey, I love your chicken video. I want you in my movie. I was like, oh, I'm going to be the star of a movie? He's like, no, man. You're just the weird foreigner that lives next to the main character. But I want you to wear the same outfit you wore in your viral chicken video, which is women's pajamas. But after that, you know, ended up doing game shows, reality shows, talk shows in Vietnam. Worked with Discovery Channel, Travel Channel, Netflix, Sony, Insta360, Nanlite, and just a lot of different companies because of where this went over the last 6 years. And now, happy to say, you know, I go back and forth between America and Vietnam, but I really enjoy, because I've gone to a lot of places in Vietnam already, I really enjoy exploring Vietnamese communities here in America now. Because these are newer fans that didn't know about me until Instagram a couple years ago.
Hey, right here.
There we go. And it's so cool to see, you know, because in Vietnam, it's almost like they've grown a little tired of me. They're like, oh yeah, it's Phúc Mập, you know, the guy with the chicken from 6 years ago. Oh, it's Phúc Mập from, you know, hanging with them. Like, but in America, it's a newer feel. So here we are, 6 years after the channel. You know, Vietnamese, hopefully constantly improving. Still study with my tutor and whatnot. But just happy to be here with you guys, because we've been talking on Instagram for a long time.
Hell yeah.
Collaborating on posts and whatnot. And to be honest with you guys, coming out here and meeting y'all after seeing just your face on social media, it's surreal for me. You know, I've gotten to meet a few people like Ron, Moon Tell That, and I just collaborated. And seeing all of y'all on social media, but never actually meeting, and then meeting up. You know, seeing you come up the escalator for Little Saigon, I was like, dang, this is real. Awesome.
Obviously, now that you see this, all the makeup, it's all fake, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know, we don't look like this. Like, you know. I just have one question, man.
Okay.
Since you know you can translate stuff.
Since you can translate stuff. It's not Google, bro.
So what's the equivalent to a ginger in Vietnamese?
I've tried this one before.
Gung,
I've tried gung. They're like, một người mà thích gừng đúng không? Ginger? Like, no, I am a ginger. Không hiểu.
I'm just curious, like, is there a Vietnamese term for ginger? You know what I mean?
No. I've tried to get that to catch on there, but it does not work. It's just một người mà có tóc máu cam. Máu cam. Sorry, I almost said cam for the cold. Máu cam. So yeah, but that's one thing that kind of helped my channel, is just standing out.
Oh,
you know?
yeah,
You got to use the gifts that God gave you, and I'm one of the only ginger beards in Vietnam. Bald, ginger bearded guys. In fact, bearded guys, not just ginger bearded guys, bearded guys will randomly message me on Instagram like, bro, I'm on vacation in Vietnam.
I need a beard.
People keep coming up and asking me to take pictures. And I say, why? I say, Phúc Mập. So I had to message you myself. They send me the pictures that the people take with them, even after they tell them they're not Phúc Mập.
But they don't care.
They don't care. They don't care. They tell their friends, I met
They're
Phúc
like,
Mập.
close enough, they all look alike.
Yeah. My buddy James owns some restaurants over there, and he's got a brown beard. And I don't think we look alike at all. But he's like, dude, I was in Cat Tien, the national park 5 hours north of Saigon. He's like, I was in Cat Tien, like, just taking pictures of wildlife. And this group came up and like, Phúc Mập, we get a picture with you. He's like, I don't even look like you. Just got a beard.
Anyone with a beard now is called Phúc Mập.
Yeah, anyone with a beard is Phúc Mập.
Pretty much. And the expats in Saigon group on Facebook, I woke up one morning with just tags, like I'd gone missing or something. They had some random foreigner with a beard, looked nothing like me, and was skinny. And he was like drugged out and missing, and they had a picture of him on the side of the road, and someone's like, somebody go get Phúc Mập. But that's what we got Phúc on before GTA 6. I'm like, I just woke up.
We're gonna find him before GTA 6.
So you're almost like a little national treasure by now. They're gonna do a search party for you.
I've become a meme a couple of times. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. So it's.
But this journey has been surreal, like you said. You know, during COVID, that's when I discovered you. Mm-hmm. Right after COVID, I'm like, dude, this dude's dope, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, you know, before even the word of the day, you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, man, that's why I messaged him, man. You fucking sick, dude. You know what I mean? I'm just some rando, just message him, but you probably get that a lot.
Yeah, and you never know where it's going to lead. Obviously, here, sitting at a bar, doing a podcast in California, So I try my best to respond to everyone.
Yeah.
You know, everybody gets at least one. Did Spider-Man say that on Family Guy?
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one.
You know, but
That's what you tell the girls.
Everybody gets sometimes two.
Everybody gets one, but then, you know, it is crazy the amount of people that you meet on social media when you put yourself out there and get the messages, because some people turn into weirdos and you got to put them in the restricted list or whatever. But I try to respond to everybody because you never know what's going to happen. But what's crazy is when you meet somebody outside, they're like, bro, I messaged you and you replied. I was like, cool, yeah, I remember you.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one,
everybody
man.
gets one.
Yeah. May I have another? Just kidding. No, this is surreal for us too, because like, you know, we're just doing podcasts, many interesting people that does interesting things, and you do some interesting shit, you know. He was telling me he eats all kinds of shit, right? But he's not Andrew Zimmerman.
Like ass or what?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't gotten to that level yet. I'm not gonna lie. I'm old school.
Chưa ăn lẩu đít hả?
Chưa ăn lẩu đít hả?
Starfish hả?
Không biết hương vị của lẩu đít như thế nào.
Can you say that in Vietnamese?
No.
No?
No. No, I'm not to the level.
You're not to that level?
Not to the level.
How do
you understand Hue people?
Hue people?
Yeah, like the Boomhauers.
I always make the joke, you know, Demo Rua. You know, like, I hope, because that's all I really know from the Hue accent. But I honestly, I haven't had too hard of a time when I go to Da Nang. I go to Hue. I notice it's different, but I haven't had too hard of a time discerning like the context. And this is what you have to learn about language learning. You know, and I told my English students this. I taught English in Vietnam for 8 years, from the little kids to IELTS level. You know, and I go, look, guys. Don't think that you have to understand 100%. You're sitting in your IELTS test, you're doing the listening, you already read your questions, you're thinking about what's the context, what am I trying to get to? So I can listen to someone ramble in Vietnamese and understand 70-80%, yet I can get the gist of it and I can answer accordingly. You know, sometimes it backfires. I was on a TV show with MC Nguyen Lin and I'm going, and my wife told me before the show, she's right off the camera, and she goes, if you don't understand a question, don't answer it. I go, yeah, babe. Okay, whatever. Yeah. I get up there. I guess I didn't understand a couple questions, and I just rambled. And she goes, Kom Lien Quan, you just answered, and it had no answer relevant to what he asked.
You're just a politician by now, then.
Of course. You just answered like I'm going to give you a sentence instead. But yeah, it's really about just getting the context, and even in Hue, what are you asking? They're probably asking about the same thing. Oh, do you want to on your banh mi or no? You know, it's like, it's always similar questions.
So you used to all this same old, right? Yeah. See, we don't get nobody DMing us for nothing. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, I think we got to grow a beard.
I know, I can't.
Grow it out.
Nah, I look like I failed puberty.
Yeah. Yeah, I look like I'm a catfish. You know what I mean? I look like a catfish after trying to grow shit out, man. So, us, fail on beard. We'll never be mistaken for him.
So I got a question. So what drew you to Vietnam? Like, why Vietnam?
That's a good question.
Like, why not like Korea or the Philippines or something like that?
So, how do I want to frame this? Basically, when people give you advice, it's not always the best advice, but when people give you advice, depending on the person, you should listen and really take it to heart. I used to work at the bars in downtown Orlando, so that's why this feels very nostalgic, or hoài niệm, as we say in Vietnamese, because I worked in bars for years, whether at the door, to bar back, to bartender. And I remember sitting outside of a bar I was working at, and a wiser old guy that trained jiu-jitsu with us, well-traveled, very well off, and he said, you need to be really careful because you've been down here about 4 years. I know you drink all the time. You're going to open your eyes in 20 years and you're going to be an alcoholic who still works in the same bar, and you're going to regret your life. Go move to another country. Don't go to Australia or Ireland. Go somewhere where they look different from you, they sound different from you, and go start a new life. Literally told it straight to my face like this. And I was like, yeah, well, maybe that's something I should look into. So I looked into teaching English. Obviously, Spain and Italy, you know, they look and kind of sound like me. So I looked at Korea, I looked at Japan, but those are very basic. That's where everyone goes to start. And then I found a program for Southeast Asia. And basically, you train in Cambodia, and then you go to the country of choice. So Vietnam looked like the best pick, but I didn't know anything about Vietnam. In fact, I lived in Little Saigon, Orlando, and didn't even know it was Little Saigon. I thought it was just the Asian area.
That was Chinatown?
Yeah, Chinatown. I had no idea what a Vietnamese, character looked like.
Yeah.
I saw Korean barbecue, I saw that stuff, but I didn't know the difference. And when I moved over there, man, I got there and I never want to leave. Like in the first couple of days, I was like, I think I'm gonna stay here forever.
Damn.
It's not even so much about the money. It was the fact that people were so easy to talk to.
Yeah.
They just go up and I'd start a conversation with English and they would try to talk. And I'm a very social guy. So for me, it just clicked. And then obviously meeting my wife, that just locked me in for as long as I could.
He's probably responsible for all the Vietnamese speaking English so well now. yeah, because they speak. They come here. I'm like, dude, how long you lived in America? Oh, 4 years. I'm like, sounds like somebody's been here like 20 years.
I want to share this, and this is two true stories. First and foremost, my mom's in DeLand, Florida. I go to the one Vietnamese restaurant in that town, which is very good. Shout out for Company Noodle House. And the server, I'm speaking Vietnamese, have one of my most viral videos there, bringing my 84-year-old grandma to try Vietnamese food for the first time. And I'm talking to the server, and I was like, oh, where you from? She's like, yeah, Vietnam. And she's like, oh, quê hương ở đâu? Saigon. Học tiếng Anh ở đâu? VUS. Anh văn hỏi Việt Mỹ. That's where I taught for 8 years. My boss was her English teacher.
Oh,
now
shit.
she lives in my mom's town, serving us Vietnamese with perfect English. And then it goes deeper. Same town, nail salon. My mom goes with her mom to get pedicures once a month. She's getting a pedicure, and of course she's got to brag on her son. Like, my son lived in Vietnam. I think he did TV out there. He's got a YouTube channel. And the girl goes, what's your son's name? She's like, I think they call him Phúc Mập. The girl doing her feet was my student in Vietnam, and she just came to America. My mom's like, she's got really good English. I swear, both of these stories, in the last couple of years.
Well, thank you for teaching them.
You're a good teacher.
You're a good fucking teacher, man.
I don't know why they're going to my mom's town, but that's where everybody's going.
That's where all the nail salons are popping up. Just kidding.
All the little Saigons.
That's what I mean. You probably have infected, I'm going to say, touched many people with language.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I know.
with language.
With language. Is that what it is? See, even my language sucks.
I'll be touching people.
But now, I feel like I flipped my role where I really took pride in teaching English and helping these kids and young adults get better at English, maybe get better jobs, maybe get a chance to go move somewhere else, get a new experience like I did. But then when I started Vietnamese Word of the Day, people were messaging me about teaching them Vietnamese. And I'm like, am I qualified to do this? And then I think back, there's Vietnamese in Vietnam teaching English who can't speak in English. And I'm like, I guess I'm qualified.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, just like your experience here, like me, Ron, and countless other people that came up to you, oh, my English, my Vietnamese bad. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
bad, boy.
It's wrong. It's like, I even learned some words from your channel. You know, he's like, oh shit, is that what it means?
I'm happy to help. But now, not only Vietnamese Word of the Day, but I teach people Vietnamese on Patreon. A lot of it is men or women in my situation. Vietnamese wife, husband, and they have the in-laws that they can't communicate with. And they're not going to Vietnam. So they said, where can I learn? I said, hey, I'll give you the basics. I'll help you out on the starting path. And I've had some students for over 2 years now.
Like me, I'll go to somebody's house, say I'm going to his house, and I meet a bunch of older people. I'm like, hey, what do I call them? Right?
Yeah.
I go, hey,
The pronouns are very confusing.
The Joe, the back, the Kau, and this. I'm like, dude, what do I call them, man? I'm going to be disrespectful. You know what I mean? I still do this.
Let me see the family tree real quick.
Yeah.
The family tree is tough.
Dude.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, because you have to switch the name for the aunts and the uncles depending on the side of the wife's family. So her dad, his brothers and sisters, I have to call different than her mom's brothers and sisters. I'm over here calling everybody back because it's my mother-in-law's side. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's very hard to keep up with.
It's hard, like, who's Dave, who's the code, who the M, and who's like, dude, what if she looks like my age?
Yeah. You better not call her older than you. She's going to take offense to that.
But if you call her younger than you, she might take offense to that too.
You know what? In my experience, I'm going to tell you guys right now, any lady that is under 50, I better call her M. Because if I go with Jake, she goes, M. I'm like, I know you're older than me, but I'll give you the respect of calling you M. That's fine. He's like, I'm only 37. I know you 45. But,
You just thought you looked 37. You know what I mean? No, but that's like me. Like I tell him all the time, my Vietnamese is horrible. I have to ask all the time, what does that mean, right? Like today, I told him like gang. You know what I mean? I go, what does gang mean? Because he had a different version. Ron had a different version. Of course, Ron's flawed. You know what I mean? But our gang is addiction. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you addicted? What are you feeding for? What is that?
Exactly.
Okay, and then you told me something else. You know what I mean?
We're like, bị nghiện is to be addicted to something, but it's usually like tiêu cực. It's like a negative connotation, such as drugs or whatnot.
Ah.
But then I heard, when you said it, I heard gan. So I'm like, oh, you're jealous. Oh,
gan
yeah. You know?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm gonna gang, nigga. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, damn, it's so good. I fucking, you know, I'm gonna fucking be addicted to it. I guess it has a bad connotation, right?
But I've never heard nghiện with matui. You know, with drugs, I've never heard it like that. I've always heard nghiện, bị nghiện.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what's gang?
Nghiện is to be addicted. So like bị is what you put in front of something for the passive voice, or to make it like a negative connotation. Like, oh, bị đau, you know? Bị nghiện is to be addicted. So bị nghiện đập đá, you know, smoking crack, you know? Bị nghiện xì ke, things like that.
I'm never gonna learn Vietnamese, dude.
You're fine. Just take it a step at a time. And that's what I tell
Lost
everybody.
case
It's
right
like
here.
if you took 2 words a day, okay? You focused on 2 words a day and you practice those. And the next day you review those 2, but you add 2 more. There's 365 days in a year. Like, I mean, you're going to have well over 800 words by the end of the year.
The problem is I'm losing words while I'm adding words right now.
No, you gotta keep reviewing them. That's the thing.
For 2 words a day, you could sponsor this child.
For only 1 cup of coffee.
I have what's called the Lightener box. I got this from Fluent Forever by Gabriel Weiner, and he speaks all kinds of languages. He was an engineer, and he basically taught himself how to learn languages. And he didn't develop the Lightener box, but it's what he recommends. Basically, it's a box of flashcards. In the front is your new words, and then after you start to learn those, you put them in the back, or the next step back, so you review them every day. The next one you review every other day. The next one every 2 days. By the time your words are in the back, you know them by heart. It's you know, spaced repetition learning. And when you break it down into a system like that, I mean, if you speak 600 of the most common words in the language, you can say a lot to people that you're just meeting for the first couple of times, you know?
Yeah, because I don't know the proper Vietnamese. Do you?
Proper?
Yeah.
No, my Vietnamese is horrible.
I know the
Yeah.
proper. I don't know the proper.
Proper.
Like, I feel bad. Like, I know to start every MC job with "Xin chào quý vị," and then after that I just go. I'm
Let me
like,
try that. Try that. Xin chào quý vị.
Xin chào quý vị.
Tôi là. It's hard to even introduce yourself. You know what I mean? Like, we tried this once. We said speak Vietnamese for 5 minutes straight, don't break, right?
Yeah.
How hard was that?
That was hard.
That was fucking hard.
That was hard.
Dude, I don't even think I can do it for a minute.
Well, I didn't know I was going to get thrown into the fire, because not only did I have all these new people to talk to upstairs, but they're all old. No offense, but they're all old. And I'm like, oh man, I got to be careful with my jokes. I got to I'll go 5 minutes, but I got to know the crowd that I'm speaking to. And with older people, they're easier to make laugh, but I also have a bunch of material that I can't use because it's super offensive. And my wife's like, lick so.
He has layers of filters now.
Yep.
Your wife probably add those layers of filters for you. Yeah.
She stopped me a few times. You know what? I'm not going to go into names, but there have been people in Vietnam that were straight canceled, foreigners on social media for what they did. And, you know, that's their own issue. But my wife is my cultural guide with my content, and she has stopped me multiple times using American humor with Vietnamese and Vietnamese situations.
It doesn't translate.
Do not. That will get you kicked out of
She said, do
Vietnam.
not.
Do not.
She's straightforward.
It's a do man moment.
It's a do man moment. It's a deep shit do man moment.
Can we go into that word real quick? Can we go
Let's go, let's go.
Let's go, man.
Like how the Italians.
Yeah, do man.
Before we started filming, I talked about different times that I've been close to canceled, and I didn't get into the most recent. You know, there's a challenge that's going around on social media.
The fuck, yeah.
In front of the mother.
Oh,
and my wife
shit.
goes, oh, it'd be hilarious if you did it in front of my mom. I said, are you sure? She goes, no, it's fine. I'll sit across the table. I was like, this is your idea, okay, we're gonna do it. And I start, and you can see the video, her mom goes, looking at her like, and then the second time, and she's holding it in. She wants to hit me so bad, but she knows I'm filming and complimenting her food. And she's like looking at my wife like, but I got a lot of hate. A lot of go to hell, you white trash hillbilly, for speaking
For Vietnamese people?
Yeah. But I think they're Vietnamese people in America, and I think I speak more Vietnamese than them, so they're upset about that. But you know, if you do hate me for it, that's your own thing.
Yeah.
Or they don't know the context.
Kick rocks. You know what I mean?
So that one, I find because I just put out a video comparing North and South and the differences in culture and whatnot, and I point out like in the South, to me, it sounds funny.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're singing a song.
Yeah.
You know, my wife, she had a Wan Yao for a couple years in Vietnam, and I used to sit there every night, listen and try to learn by listening. Well, what else am I gonna learn other than But in the North, it's very heavy. Do y'all know how to say MFer in the North?
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hey, that one is deep.
Yeah.
You know what? It was funny though. Like from California, you hear a lot of "man." But you go to the South, like New Orleans and Texas and Florida, it's "no man." So if you ever travel to New Orleans, you're gonna hear that a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I noticed that last few times I went, "no man." You know what I mean? Like that's all I hear. You know what I mean?
I will say it's more popular in America than in Vietnam, and I say that because spending some time in the nail salon. This is just like I said with Little Saigon in Orlando. You know, I didn't know much about it until I went to Vietnam and came back and started to explore it. I didn't know anything about the nail salon before I went to Kentucky and helped my brother out in his. And I'm listening and I'm like, everybody in here saying mother effer every 5 seconds. You don't hear that in Vietnam outside the Wan Yao. You just, because they save face in public. You don't go and make yourself look bad in front of everybody in public.
Yeah.
And you do that by saying bad words. But in the nail salon, there's no one to judge except for the other nail techs, and they're all saying it. So I'm sorry, nail techs, but I was blown away. I was touched very deeply with all the demands that I heard in the nail salon.
Potty mouth nail
It's like
tech.
that duck thing. No matter what, no matter what. That's all you hear, right?
The first guy I met there, you know, he turned out not to be a good guy, obviously, but he goes, you know, hey, if you ever need me to teach you Vietnamese, just let me know. I was like, I already know how to say do man. That's the only word you say. You don't even know Vietnamese. What are you going to teach me?
Now teach me another curse word.
Yeah, go
that
ahead.
we don't know.
He's like, nah, I don't know.
He's like,
say it.
no. So how did you meet your wife? Like you went over there, you were there for about a year, you said?
Yeah, about a year and a half.
And then you just like
before we met.
fell in love?
Yeah, basically. So we, you know, I always say bid mutton is destiny, you know? Because I think personally things happen for a reason, and whether you want to believe that or not, you could either take the opposite stance and say, no, you just make the best of every situation that does happen, or things happen for a reason. And I'm in Vietnam. My school that I work at is literally around the corner from where she grew up and where she lived. And, you know, Theo Van Hoek or Vietnam, Vietnamese culture, she still lived at home with her family. And then we have mutual friends. We go out to Nhậu. And then I was like, yo, what's up? Let me get your Facebook. And then I saw
Facebook
and back then my Vietnamese was not that good. I thought it was, but it definitely wasn't in 2016. And we started dating, and it was such a shift for me because I don't want to, you know, go too much on American ladies, but I was in college. I went to parties in college, and some of those girls were wild. Like 18-year-old girl passed out on the couch of a party who she doesn't even know whose party it is. Not even supposed to be drinking, but she's wasted.
Yeah.
And you see that on a regular basis. Whereas in Vietnam, my coworkers, my teaching assistants, on the weekends we get college students to help us with the little kids. I talk to all of them, and they say, you know, I live at home. And I'm like, you're like 23. What do you mean you live at home? Well, when are you going to move out? When I get married. What? You can't move out to get married? No, we don't do that. I'm like, oh, I have a curfew, 9 o'clock at night. I said, you can't go out with your friends past 9 o'clock? You're 23 years old. No, my mom will kill me. I have to go home. And when you see that compared to what I saw at UCF and compared to the college age girls, not all girls in America are like that, but a lot are in the college lifestyle. When you see that, I'm like, man, if I do get married, I would love to get married over here. That's the wifey material that I would want. Because when I started dating my wife, all I saw was her taking care of her nephews and nieces, talking to her mom every day on the phone, just caring for the family. I'm like, that. My wife doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, she doesn't stay out late. I was like,
I think you found a unicorn.
I know. I was like,
Yeah,
hold on a
even for
second.
Vietnam, that's very damn whack, bro.
You've been blessed with something, man.
Yeah,
I've been in Vietnam too. I didn't run into any of those.
Well, you freaking a different district though.
That's true.
That's also true. That's also
The
true.
wrong street there, buddy.
And the wrong lights, it's red.
Whoa.
But regardless,
Here.
regardless, I just I knew. I was like, man, if I get married, I'm marrying this girl. So we dated for almost 2 years. And then her mom even asked me, he's like, are you guys getting married? You gonna propose? I was like, hey, my mom said if it's the perfect girl, wait as long as I need to. And 2 years comes, I took her to Taiwan. She loves chestnut milk tea. Took her up Elephant Mountain, Taipei 101 in the background.
Yeah.
My buddy, who also encouraged me to start the YouTube channel, he flew in just to film it for me. And then I put the ring on top of a chestnut, right on the straw, and then proposed, and then the rest is history.
You are so romantic.
I try to be. I try
You
to
proposed Boba Queen.
be. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the word for the day from him is now say romantic. How would say romantic in Vietnamese?
Lang mang.
What?
Lang mang.
I'll
Lang
never
mang.
say that word.
Lang mang.
I've never been like in my life.
You're lưu manh lãng mạn, okay? I don't know that word.
Yeah, because when they came back, her sister, chị vợ nói là, oh, lang mang quá. Oh my goodness,
Oh my
he took you to
God.
Đài Loan and you took it all the way to Taiwan to do that.
Just to propose?
Yeah. And then my buddy, it was funny because my buddy flew in from Korea. He had lived in Vietnam before, but was living in Korea. He flew in just for it, and I had him waiting in a cafe. So we go in, and she goes, oh, I thought this was going to be like a Lang Mang trip. What's your friend doing here? Why is he here? I'm
Why is
like,
the third, fourth wheel, fifth
yeah,
wheel here?
I was like, dude, we got to do it tonight. She's not going to be happy about this trip. And I was like, all right, cool. So we went up Elephant Mountain, got it done. And she hates climbing mountains, but she forgave me after that. So
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's actually really, really beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Say that again?
Lang Mang.
Okay, I'm going to
Lang
forget that now.
We'll have to make a Vietnamese word of the day so it's sticking in your memory.
No, really, like I told you, there's certain words like we don't say or hear from our, like what me and Ron said to you, like, you know, there's certain words our parents have never told us.
Oh, yeah.
Like I love you and happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, or
so I'm proud of you.
Nhậu With Us.
Really?
Have you ever heard that word said to you?
Yeah, like when I was 5, maybe. Like, oh, you're not a shit, y'all.
Nhậu With Us.
I don't have to help you anymore.
Yeah, you didn't sit on the ground.
I'm
Good.
more like ngu dừa sao ngu quá, you know, shit like that.
My favorite one with the
Oh,
roll.
man.
You know, I didn't grow up with Vietnamese parents, so I try to relate the best I can. But I have lived with nephews and nieces and heard their parents chửi them. So I have a little bit of background, and my favorite one is, you know, when they chửi con nói là ngu như bò.
Như bò,
Say,
yeah.
ủa, mẹ tại sao mẹ bắt con uống sữa bò để thông minh, nhưng mà gọi con ngu như bò? So why am I drinking cow's milk to be smart, but you still call me stupid as a cow? Doesn't make sense.
Moo.
No. All of our kids talk back, right?
Yeah.
Logic.
Logic. It's all logic. But like I said,
I was telling Ron today, I was very happy. I am very happy and very pleased that my wife and I met in all this. We got our travels and married, everything before the YouTube and the YouTube fame, if you will. Like you can attest, people have come up to me and taken pictures while here in Little Saigon. And wherever there's a Vietnamese community, I get that. And I'm very grateful for that. But I would also be quite scared if I was single and that happened. And people are like, what are you talking about? That would be awesome. Hot chicks coming up. Like, no, I wouldn't trust anyone. I would think every girl wants to get me on the Vietnamese TMZ and get some pictures or some video or something. And I wouldn't be able to trust anyone. Or, oh, no, I love you because you're a little overweight and you have a red beard and no hair. Not because you have a YouTube channel. No,
not at all.
I wouldn't trust anyone. So I was very, very happy in retrospect when I look back that I met my wife before all of this.
great timing.
Yeah.
Great timing. Now there's passport bros that look for that.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them for that shit, man. Because like, you know, you think you're conservative here, but it's like way far off from people like in Vietnam being conservative. You know what I mean? Like you said, you know, they don't move out. They have proper stuff.
Yeah, they don't have porn and shit, right?
They don't have porn.
Porn's illegal. I mean, that's what my friends told me.
Yeah, porn's illegal. That's news to me.
VPN. No, I'm just kidding.
You know how to say porn in Vietnamese?
Phim heo.
Yeah.
Phim heo, you know why it's phim heo, not phim lợn?
Why? Because they squeal like a pig?
No, because phim lợn is also a pig film. I had a tour guide in the north tell me this. So conheo is pig in the south, and con lợn is pig in the north. And they say, tại sao con heo ăn bắp, con lợn ăn ngô? You ever heard that one?
No.
Okay, so tại sao con heo, the pig, and bắp eats the corn, but bắp is the word for corn in the south. Nhưng mà con lợn ăn ngô, con lợn, the pig in the north, eats the ngô, the corn in the north, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but that leads into, this tour guide told me, he said the reason we call it phim heo, because con heo is the southern word, and the porn that actually came into the country 50 years ago came from the American military. And it was very popular in the South because they brought in all the porn. So that everybody from north to south would call it phim heo, not phim lợn.
Now we know the origin of porn.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard it from a friend.
So next guy that wants to get what Hail Hub?
Hail Hub. That's what
Quick, reservethat.com.
Hail Hub.
Hail Hub? He helped you long time, okay?
Hail Hub. Ăn bắp.
Ăn bắp.
Ăn bắp.
Can you do a whole corn on the cob?
We're sorry if you get canceled because of us.
like,
It's okay. I'm just in
full
the background,
disclaimer,
guys.
we are doing this to him. We
I'm in
forced
the
him to come.
background.
Yeah.
He's being a good character.
Keep it
Yeah.
PG-13.
He's actually
you know?
AI. We just pretend that he's here. We
The
just
only female I watch is on the Travel Channel. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
food porn.
Discovery.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of food porn, so like, were you always like food adventurous?
Yes, yes. I was the kid that would get paid in 11th grade biology class to eat what we were dissecting.
Oh,
People
shit.
would throw money on the table, and I'd be like,
Formaldehyde.
Yeah, I'll take a piece of that. No, my biology teacher literally
I
told me
dare
that.
you.
I was like, what would happen if I ate that? She's like, well, it has formaldehyde in it, so you probably go to the bathroom a lot, but you'd be fine. I was like, well, okay.
She's like, I'll allow it.
20 bucks.
20
20
bucks.
bucks is 20 bucks, you know?
So if you ever want to dare him to do anything, put money on the table.
20
okay?
bucks.
A lot more than 20 these days,
Yeah.
inflation, you know?
Yeah, money on the wood. It could be. Okay?
But I'll share with you guys, when I started the channel, I didn't know what route I wanted to go with it.
Yeah.
But I knew my strong point was eating anything. So the first couple videos, and most of them are still on the channel, I
She on Hail Hub. Who eat anything? Just kidding.
I wanted to do the most outrageous things that I could do. And the first one involved condungua. You know condungua? Those are coconut worms.
Oh yeah, the bugs with little
Yeah.
pinchers, right?
Yeah, well, they're pretty big pinchers for a little worm like that. But they grow in the coconut tree. They live in the coconut tree down in Benchea, the Tiandung of Tayu. And basically, they will ship them to Saigon. And I felt like I was doing a drug deal. Not that I've ever done one, but I felt like I was doing a drug deal the first time I bought them. Found this guy. I don't remember how I found him. Go over to his house, and he like opens the door, looks around, come inside. I'm inside, take my shoes off, and he pulls out this box. It's just coconut bark. Hundreds of coconut worms.
Oh,
He's
shit.
like, how many you want? Like, bounty con. Just throwing them in the box. So get them, and they're like 8,000 a piece, which comes out to like 40 cents. So you get a bunch and go back to wherever I'm trying to do it at. And basically, eating them is not that big of a deal. I'm sorry, I've done it plenty of times on my channel, but I love to introduce it to people. I never saw a video of someone getting bit by one. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna let one of these little things bite me. So I set up the camera, held it up to my lip, I'm holding it, and it pinched, and bro, I couldn't get it off. Oh, bro, it hurt so bad. Because I mean, you pinch your lip, it hurts, and you have these little pinchers.
Waiter, grub.
These things burrow through coconut
Grubhub.
trees like Grubhub. I think that one's already trademarked. But, after that, you guys know mam tom?
Oh,
Mom thumb,
man.
yeah.
Okay, so
Took
I was
me
like,
years
you know,
to get to that, man.
foreigners eat mam tom all the time. It's not that big of a deal. Vietnamese love it. I'll just drink a whole bowl.
Oh,
so I took
shit.
a bowl and just chugged the bowl. and,
Jeez.
you know.
Ugh.
Then my buddy that I'm filming it with, he goes, "Oh, you forgot the kumquat and the sugar." I'm like, "You're supposed to put that in." So I put it in. I drink another bowl, and it turned out to be a bigger video. I went down to Mỹ Tho in the Miền Tây, and I wanted to eat snake. And I'm by myself, and I'm like, you know, but eating snake isn't that cool. Like, so, cô ơi, yeah, cho con một con rắn sống. Let me get a live snake. So I'm holding a live snake, trying to eat this snake. She made me film in the kitchen, so I didn't do it in front of customers. Holding this live snake, eating snake meat for the first time, hoping this thing doesn't bite me in the face.
Yeah.
I don't even know where the hospital is. I'm like, oh my gosh. So the beginning of my channel was videos like that. But then I realized, you know, other than mice, there's not too much more to eat. So
Yeah.
I moved into other food adventures.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't eat half the shit that I see. You know, it's like, damn, you brave, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you have restrictions. I mean,
I've had some crazy stuff, but not to that level.
Where do you
Yeah.
draw the line?
Where did I draw the line? Let me see here. I don't know. I think I'd eat a human.
Human?
Right? Maybe.
You eat human every weekend, dog.
We just talked about animal. What are you talking about?
I guess you're right?
This guy, dude.
What wouldn't I eat? I don't know. That's a good question. I think I'd try everything at least once.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd try it.
I don't know, man. I think I can't do it, dude.
It's hard to say. And it's different. It is different when you would have to kill it yourself. And you would have to make it. That, I think, would draw a line for a lot of people. I did the Famien. They call it a pub with cold beer. In 2018, I took my brother there. We have a really funny video. My brother, they make you chase the chicken, not choke it. You chase the chicken. You have to
Chicken or cock? What is it?
What are you choking and chasing?
You have to catch it yourself, and then you have to kill it. So my little brother, he chased it around. He caught it, and then I killed it. And that was the first time I'd like killed an animal that I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I could do the chicken thing, but a duck's cuter. I don't know if I could do a duck.
Yeah.
Definitely couldn't do like a whole cow, like
A rabbit?
Yeah, rabbit's so cute. Like, how can I kill that thing? I'll eat a rabbit.
So we gotta kill a fucking ugly
Ugly-ass animal, right?
What's the ugly animal that you wouldn't feel bad?
I mean, a really disgusting pig.
Possum?
Yeah. There we go on the possum.
Some possums are cute, bro.
Fuck no, man.
Some people got them as pets now.
No.
No. Would you eat a possum?
Would I eat a possum? I'd eat a possum.
I'd eat it. I just wouldn't want to catch it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It's like one big ass rat.
I think if it wasn't like a diseased possum or something like that, if it was like a,
He was telling me like fifth garden is like fucking, I don't know if we should dirty in Vietnam, dude.
Yeah. Again, I mean, you think
it's not
about
sanitary,
it.
right?
It's not sanitary.
It's raw blood.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on how clean that animal was, and most animals aren't good at taking care of themselves, so it depends where they put them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can look it up. People die all the time eating thiccan.
Damn.
So I'm not somebody, it's one of those things where, like, let's take, I don't want to use this example in video, but I'm going to. Let's take if a culture had poop soup, which I believe I've seen that on Best Ever Food Review Show.
I've seen it.
I would eat
I haven't seen it.
poop soup if it's something that everybody eats, and I know I'm not going to die.
You know what? That's my line. I'm not gonna eat shit soup.
There we go.
Never mind. You found it.
But
You found it.
He will eat ass, but he won't eat the soup of ass.
That's one thing.
I would eat that before I would eat something that people regularly die from. Because
Okay.
to me, I'm not scared of the blood. Dude, I'll drink a gallon of blood right here. I don't care. I just don't want to die over just eating food on YouTube.
Yeah,
that
that's
doesn't make
true.
sense to me. So
See, I like eating it here. I told him I eat it here all the time. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because I love it. But I heard it's illegal here, right?
I don't know. Maybe it's unhumane.
It's inhumane. It's just like foie.
I don't know yet, because when I was in Georgia at the Fall Festival, they had it on the sign. They had Thiccan. So I don't know. Maybe it depends on the state.
California.
But
California.
it doesn't, even if I got 1 million views, I've gotten 1 million views plenty of times.
Yeah.
It's not worth it for me to just drink some raw blood,
Yeah. And then die.
They die.
Yeah.
How about snake blood?
You did
I want to do the
in the
snake
shots.
blood. I haven't done it. I would like to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done
I've
it.
not done that yet. They have like the beating heart. You take it in the shot and everything.
So have you seen it?
I've seen videos, yes.
Yeah. They take a cobra and they just piss it off, and then they catch it and they cut off the head, and then they start draining all the blood and all the shots, and then you take it and then you take shots.
Was that supposed to give you viral, like, what is it?
I don't know.
Remember, there is a phrase in Vietnamese. It's called "Ăn gì bổ nấy." Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I have actually.
Basically, you are what you eat.
Yeah.
And that's why, in my opinion, Vietnamese like to eat testicles and penises of animals.
So we're dicks.
As
Yeah,
well
we're
as
fucking dicks.
Because of dicks and snakes, because they think it helps their snake or their balls. And the same thing if you eat clams, saw dip.
Ceviche.
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 Commercial break.
Ceviche.
If you eat things that look like chim, well then it's going to help you in the chim department.
In the gym department.
Quack chim.
If you like chim, eat more chim, right? Wait a second. We gotta learn the proper terminology for all these things, okay? A chim is what?
Is a vagina.
Okay. How do you say vagina in Vietnamese properly?
That one, I know phu quat. Phu quat is the office for chim, for doctors, So I would imagine it's phu quat, because in one of my videos I had a
Sounds
joke.
romantic.
I know.
I really like your foie.
It's like a flower.
Yeah.
I had a joke where I I said, oh, yeah, I was talking to myself, teaching myself Vietnamese. It's like, oh, what's your name? You know what? I'm going to give you a name. Mat Phu Qua. It's like Mat Lon, but, Mat Phu Qua instead. But the proper way of saying it,
Cunt face.
So that's a good question. I don't know the scientific term.
No, what's the proper terminology? Like, hey, if somebody real proper say, hey, my pussy hurts. To the doctor.
No way. I just, like I said, proper, and proper. I just go with the proper.
The scientific.
Okay, we don't have the scientific term. Like a vagina or
I mean, yai is genitalia in general, so.
That's for both.
I think so. I think it's the word for genitalia.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I always thought it was a male. Yai.
I mean,
yai. Then yai. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's a good question.
How about penis?
Penis, I go with cool.
That's the doctor term.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I've never.
Bác sĩ, cu đau quá.
Yeah, I think they would get the idea.
Cough.
Never got that check in Vietnam, but yeah, I would imagine cool, and then balls. I just say B.
Ball is B. Man, your balls are the size of a bee. No, seriously, like chân giái, right?
But this is where it shows, like you were talking about the Vietnamese that you never had to use, you never had to hear. It's the same thing when you're learning the language where, for example, in Vietnam, I had a shoulder tear. So I go and get an MRI, but of course I went to the cheaper place. So you get the MRI, but you only get the Vietnamese results. They don't put it into Google Translate for you.
The guy burned some incense around your shoulder.
They give me the paper.
Rub his hands on it a little bit.
Yeah, I feel better.
The matza cao yao, đúng không?
Yeah.
But they, I brought it to my coworkers at the language school, Vietnamese who took English in university and are very, very fluent and can teach it. Yet they look at the results. They go, I don't know any of these words in English. I don't know what to tell you. Your shoulder's messed up. Like, okay, but now you start asking about medical terms, and I'm like, damn.
Well, it's just proper, like, anatomy terms.
But it's like I'm not in front of a crowd working as an MC and be like, okay, everybody, hold your chin and cool tight. It's about to get exciting in here.
And squeeze your sphincter.
It's not formal, so.
Cough.
It's a good question, but I'm the wrong one to ask.
Well, we figured you might be able to, give us the real version. I don't know the real version. Do you?
All right, so I think it's going to be Vietnamese word of the day in the future. I'll have to do some research.
What is your favorite Vietnamese word?
Favorite Vietnamese word, I would say Cui Bap.
Cui Bap?
Cui Bap. You know what Cui Bap is?
So
Cui Bap is the cob of corn when there's no corn left on it. So it's worthless. So it translates to like worthless, you mean nothing, you're trash. And I remember I had a student, they say, Tai Phúc, Cui Bap. I'm like, what'd you say? And then I asked somebody, I said, what's Cui Bap mean? Oh, it means you're a worthless cob of corn. I'm like, oh.
That's not so bad.
That's disrespectful.
So the word sounds funny to me, and I had younger students tell it to me. And I will take that time to say that Vietnamese children are so tang. They just tell it like it is, and it's hilarious. I'd be in class and be like, man, you guys, it's kind of hot in here. You guys hot? He goes, teacher's not hot, you're just fat. I'm like, damn. Go on.
How old are these kids?
It could be any level. This is like, it could be from 7 years old, 15. I would go in VUS, you have elementary, you have middle, you have high school, all of them.
Would you say there's like a lot of Vietnamese people? We just kind of like sit here like to poke fun at each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you gotta have, you like we said, you gotta have certain thick skin to live in amongst Vietnamese, right?
Oh yeah.
Would you agree with that?
For example, my brother-in-law, who I live with, I lift a lot of weights. I know you can't tell, and I know I'm kind of fat, but I like to lift weights. And he said, "Chú bao giờ thấy một người tóc tá như vậy nhưng mà vẫn mập?" He's like, "I've never seen anybody that lifts weights that much and still so fat." I'm like, yeah, thanks, bro.
Yeah,
I put that time in, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you for words of encouragement. See, like I said, we don't get words of encouragement. Giỏi quá. Yeah, your brother-in-law said, "Oh, má hay quá." Right?
Well, it's like the people upstairs ask. They go, "Oh, but you speak Vietnamese?" Nói tiếng Việt giỏi quá. Có hát tiếng Việt không? Can you sing in Vietnamese? I said, well, the same brother-in-law. He said, nếu Phúc có bao giờ hát trên kênh của Phúc thì chắc chắn là sẽ mất hết người theo dõi luôn. If you ever sing, you're gonna lose all your followers. So I don't sing, It's like, but he tells it like it is.
I'm pretty sure you could sing.
I could probably put something down. They put me on karaoke at weddings. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I'm the only white guy there, and they're like, hey,
Your turn.
Your turn.
Nyendai.
Do you go for a Vietnamese song or do you go like?
Oh, I go Vietnamese. I've done rap songs in the karaoke bars when we have to do that, but
Yeah.
I remember being in Buôn Ma Thuột up in Dak Lak in my sister-in-law's wedding, and man, there's not a white guy for miles till you get to the lot, and even there's not many, and man, it just, they hand me that mic, it's like, hot day.
Hot day.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go.
Circus monkey time.
My wife was so embarrassed, but it's all good. I mean,
They must put you in like very precarious situations. Be like, what the fuck? They just expect me to do this?
well, what I enjoy over there is, over here, if you have a baby, you don't let random people hold your baby. You don't give your baby to random people.
Yeah.
Whereas in Saigon, people just walk up and give me babies and take pictures of me without asking. Without asking.
You're like
They
eating a
just
sandwich,
go,
like here's a baby.
hold this.
Hold it,
Oh,
baby.
yeah, right. And they just take pictures. So not only are they not asking to give me their baby, but they're not asking to take pictures of me and their baby. I have a video where I go and do interviews on Windway Street. And the beginning of the video is me and this baby just looking at each other like this.
Staring
he
down.
just got past me.
Yeah.
I don't know who this baby is. And we're just staring at each other while his mom's taking pictures. It's like,
Awkward.
Anybody ever dip out and just left with the baby?
be like, what am I gonna do with this baby?
Did the baby try to sell you something?
All right.
Try to sell you a fan or a
Cigarettes.
Singum.
Single.
Single man. They used to sell lotto tickets back in the day.
Yep, they
Yeah.
still do.
Do they?
9 years old?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh man.
It's just some illegal shit.
Well, I saw some sad shit sometimes.
Yeah?
Like at like the cemeteries and shit.
Yeah.
I saw this kid and like a vulture just like chilling, and then like when I was going checking out a grave, and then this lady's like, "Hey, yo, this kid's family is dead, and he got nobody. Like, take this kid." I'm like, "Bro, I'm a kid myself." I'm like 14. I was like, "I can't take this kid."
They offer you the kid?
Yeah, they're like, "This kid got no family, got nowhere to go." Da, da, da,
Where
da.
am I gonna take him? I ain't got nothing.
Take it.
Yeah.
Dude, now the content creator, I've noticed a lot of content creator now coming out of Vietnam.
Okay.
Big explosion, last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
I have. It's a very interesting niche. I think one of the reasons I took off when I did, not only because the beard, but also because there was no one in that niche.
Yes.
Well, not as unique as everyone thinks, but we had, in the beginning, we had myself, Vietnam meets Dustin, he's the fishing guy. We had Nam Den, he's the Nigerian that speaks really good Vietnamese. Then Chris Lewis came along, who speaks like Chinese, Vietnamese, Urdu, everything. And then Max McFarland for food. Han Wok Bros for the Korean guys. And that was pretty much it. And we were all cool. We all hung out, we all collabed and, shared insider tips and whatnot. And everybody kind of went up. But these days, yeah, it's like anybody that just moves to Vietnam, they'll start a channel. But I'm confident in that I've kind of built it to where, as I mentioned before off camera, my wife, she told me in the beginning, you sound like a kid when you speak Vietnamese.
Yeah.
I was like, thanks. Like a smart
Is that
kid?
good?
A smart kid, right? She said, you sound like a little kid, but it's cute. And I started getting those comments like, oh, tiếng Việt của anh dễ thương quá, giống như là con nít. Oh, okay. And my wife said, she said, don't ever change that. Because if you get really good and you sound like a local, people are going to get bored of your content.
That's
They're going to
true.
move on to the next foreigner who speaks, fluent Vietnamese, and you're going to be nothing special. So keep that voice and just keep learning more words and phrases, add more jokes, and you're going to last longer. You'll be relevant longer.
I agree with that.
And I feel like I've done that. I sound like an American guy with a raspy voice who just knows a ton of Vietnamese words and phrases and just throws them out in awkward situations,
Well, I'm a Vietnamese guy that has a raspy voice that has awful Vietnamese that sounds like a white guy speaking Vietnamese.
There we go. There we go. We have more in common than we
We're
thought.
all gonna learn from you. We're all gonna sound like you. So
Yeah, we're just basically all gonna sound like
they're
each
like,
other.
you sound like Phúc Mập.
I love when people send me those videos. They go, "Kakbag, hey, Phúc Mập, hey." They put the extra rasp in there. But yeah, I think it was an untapped market, and there were two creators before me, two main creators. One got canceled, which you can find that on international news, and the other one, him and I have done videos and TV shows together since. Really cool guy from Nigeria. But before me, it was only those two. So when I started, Dustin was coming up, and Max is good, starting in Vietnam, and Chris and everything, and then we all just had our own niche, you know, and we just ran with it, and yeah, I'm happy where it is 6 years later, you know.
Well, now you got somebody here in California you can do stuff with. You know what I mean? You can make fun of us, and we.
Okay. I'm ready for it. Just hang out in front of Little Saigon and just cracking jokes all day.
Yeah, just bring us beer and cigarettes, and, you know, we're good. You know what I mean?
We're very simple.
Yeah, we're very simple, man.
What's that? We're corn.
We're corn.
We're going.
Yeah.
Kui bap.
We're koi bap.
What would they call us in Vietnam?
Bùi đời.
Mấy thằng nào?
Thằng ngu á.
What's that?
Thằng ngu, like stupid guy.
Thằng ngu á.
Which one? Which one?
Whoever speaks the worst Vietnamese.
Hey, that's me.
We might have to fight for that one. No, we're horrible. I'm trying to learn Vietnamese back. Like I was telling you, man. Like, I'm just fucking horrible, dude.
Yeah, because I think because like we lived here for so long, we just kind of lost it.
Yeah, no, and I completely understand. And to be honest, when people ask me on my Patreon or just in the comment section, like, well, how can I learn Vietnamese? I'm like, look, in all honesty, you have to have your motivation. Like, why are you learning? You can't just go and learn Russian because you want to learn Russian just for a random reason. You have to have a Russian wife, or you really infatuated with Russian culture. You have to have a good reason. And my reason was my wife, and moreover her family. You know, just to be able, how am I going to live with them for nearly 6 years, half the family in Vietnam, half the family here? How am I going to live with them and not be able to talk to them?
Yeah,
That's
like
awkward.
Like then he taught me something. He has to say yeah in front of everything, right?
Yeah.
Like us, when we say yeah, we're like fucking 10 years old, right? You know,
chào cô.
right?
Ciao.
But like, you know, I guess formally, if you somebody asks you, ăn chưa?
Yeah. You have to reply.
Yeah, you have to reply, right? To the other person.
But it's like, as we talked about before, I couldn't grasp why you have to say yes when you're gonna say no. Con anh come chưa?
Yeah,
chưa. Yes, not yet. It's like, but why you say yes? Yeah, how? Yes. No. Why?
Yeah, right?
So the first time I started really communicating with my wife's mom when she was back visiting in Vietnam, she would ask me something, and I would quickly respond, you know, to look more fluent, and I would say, yay. Yeah.
Damn.
She goes, don't say that to my mom. I said, but that means what? I learned my question words. That is what? No, it's cái gì. Why did I say kai? Why did I say ye? It's shorter.
Yeah.
And then, oh, do you want something to eat? Con ăn cơm chưa? Home. Don't say that to my mom. You have to say yeah. I said, why would I say yeah? Why would I say yes before I say no? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just does not make
It's just
sense.
a higher level of politeness.
Yeah,
Is what
of
it is,
course.
yeah.
See, when I get confused, I just repeat them. Ha?
Huh?
What the hell does ha mean anyway?
It's like the huh at the end. Like, sound like Little John and the East Side Boys coming back.
Right? You hear that a lot, right? Ha? Like
Yo, yay.
Vietnamese parents love to ask rhetorical questions. Like if a kid's acting up, to say, Hôn lao hả? It's like, obviously he's being hôn lao. You don't have to ask huh. He knows the answer to that.
They follow with a hat.
Yeah.
So what does that follow up mean?
It's like, oh, you're being naughty.
Huh?
It's like, of course,
not A.
Yeah, like a Canadian A?
A?
I'm not too familiar with the Canadian.
You want to be bad,
lingo,
eh?
But I assume that's what A would be used for.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got some, eh?
What's all that about?
Hả?
That's what I use it for. Hả?
Uống hả?
Đúng không?
Hả?
I have a video coming out tomorrow where you're going to see a good use of this. Are you familiar with Moon Tell That? The Vietnamese lady that throws a slipper at her white husband?
Yeah.
Has her father in the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so we collabed like the first day I got here. We've been talking for a while. And one of the skits on my channel is I'm going to teach her white husband how to speak Vietnamese to her. Like endearing Vietnamese to help out their relationship. So she walks in and she goes, oh, what are you doing, Tico? And it's like, oh, Phúc Mop's teaching me Vietnamese. Phúc Mop starts to look nervous, like, oh, she wasn't supposed to be here during the lesson. She goes, oh, really? What's he teaching you? Vợ kui bắp. My wife is worthless. And she goes, what? And she starts yelling at me. And as she's yelling, he points at her and goes, hôn lao hả? And then I have to, and yep, I got to get the slipper.
Do they throw them guy in Vietnam still?
The broom?
Yeah.
They still whip people with that?
My thing was being Batam. You guys know Batam? Batam is the talkative old lady in the neighborhood that spreads the rumors.
The
gossiping old lady. And then I have the TikTok where my neighbors, they would always argue. Always. There's like 16 people in the house. Some are prostitutes, long story. But they'd be arguing, and I'm outside with the Choi Long and I'm just sweeping but looking at the same time.
When there's some shit happening outside?
Batam Phúc Mập này.
Yeah.
But that was the craziest time. That's actually when I got canceled and not allowed to post a video in Vietnam.
Oh.
During COVID. This is a true story, and I can show you all the video off camera. Because I'm not allowed to put the video online anymore. That same house, again, like 16 people living there, all crazy.
Summer prostitutes.
They're arguing, They're arguing. We're not supposed to be outside.
That's where I learned female.
Help out.
They're all outside arguing, so of course, it's normal, but I go out to watch and I have my phone on me, and this girl's yelling up at the second floor, and they took a mop bucket and they dropped it on her head and knocked her out cold.
Oh, shit.
True story. And then
It's a great comedy.
yeah, it was awesome. So I go, time to film this. I'm the only white guy in the neighborhood, so everyone comes outside, but I'm the only one filming, and I'm commentating at the same time. And they start fighting. The dude's kicking the door. They all start fighting, and then he takes the shovel and starts swinging the shovel, starts throwing bricks. It was awesome. So I post the video, and of course I put a floating Phúc Mập vlog watermark.
Yeah.
It gets like 2 million views, and then I get a call from the local police station. Tell your husband to take that down. And I thought my wife was joking with me, and she's like, "No, the police called." They
Then
said,
you learn the
better
word
take that
bito.
down." Yeah, bito. Be fact, huh?
The
Have
fact,
to come
huh?
in and
There's
pay
no
a fine.
fact, bro. There's fact.
Fact.
No fact,
You got
bro.
fact.
Yes. So that was the only time I had to actually remove a video for legal reasons because it was in their ward and they're supposed to control everything during COVID. You're not even supposed to be outside. I was on the video. I was like, they're fighting without a mask. They don't even have their mask on. Like,
I was helping out.
I was helping out, man.
I was telling them the brick's coming, and and then got in trouble for that. I had to take that video down.
Damn.
Well, what if it wasn't COVID? Would we be okay?
I think it would have gone on longer, and I think it wouldn't have mattered. Yes.
Yes.
But
Is there a word for like world star when you
World Star.
World star.
I think it would be Choi Long.
Choi Long!
It's like, can we fight right here? Danielle.com. Choi Long.
Choi Long.
Long.
See, we say that about drinking. Oh no.
Choi Long.
All right.
go.
See?
It's a very common word in Vietnamese. I think it would help all of you out to learn. Choi
Yeah,
Long.
Choi
Choi
Long.
Long.
Or what do you say? I tap out.
Hetsi Wack Roy.
It's the whack, bro.
That's si wack, the stewed pork.
Yeah.
Stewed pork bone that
Yeah.
they give you, and it's like when you're out of
I
it,
haven't
when
so
you're
long.
when you're met Molly, you say, "Oh, Hetsi Wack Roy." I mean, the actual formal word is "bako," to give up, but Hetsi Wack sounds a lot funnier.
Okay, because I asked somebody, this slang in English, like, I'm fucking lit, I'm fucking done, right? I'm fucking whatever, right? What's the equivalent in Vietnamese?
I would say Hetsi Wack.
That's too long.
I mean, you could say "bako," but to me, the "cuoc" is always hard to say the "ko" like this, and then to throw the "yao nang" at the bottom. "Ko." It's just it's difficult for me to say. Het, si whack, it's yao sack all the way through,
Yeah.
Yeah, mama, hit see what kind of.
Yeah. Come on.
That's the whack, right?
For now, Choi Long. Choi Long with Phúc Mập right here.
And this is what I love about learning the language, though, is because I tell people when you conquer, your version, your region that you're trying to learn, say you're trying to learn Southern, well, then there's always more to learn because there's equivalents in the North. There's equivalents in the Main Chom in the Central. So there's always more to learn. You know what I mean? We were eating today, and that lady, she's like, "What's this?" I was like, "Well, you could say kaito or kachin or kaibat." It's like there's different ways to say the same thing, and the same thing with different sayings. One of my favorite sayings in the North is when they're about to fight, and they say, "Biết bố mày lai không?" They said, "Do you know who your daddy is?" "Biết bố mày lai không?"
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who your daddy is, man?
That one's so funny to me. Like, so there's different ways in the Hetsi Whack. I'm sure there's something up north to refer to tapping out that I haven't learned yet, but there's always room to grow,
Because when you go drinking, man, I'm done, man. Oh, man, no more, right? fucking faded. Okay, like the word faded. I'm fucking yeah.
Well,
How
in
do you say it?
Vietnamese, it's comme ça, comme va, right? So,
Yeah.
Sairoi, be Sairoi. You're just
Sairoi.
drunk already.
But see, there's different levels of drunk, right? Like us, you know, I'm fucking buzzed.
Yeah, I got head change.
I got head change. No, man, I'm no good, right? And then I'm fucking fucked. Or you're so fucked up, you can't even describe it. Somebody else will tell you how fucked up you are, right? Bro, you're done, man.
Have y'all ever been to the beer clubs in Vietnam?
Nuh-uh, not me.
What is that? Is like
Wild.
is that beer?
I mean,
or-
it's like a club, but it's like a draft house, and it's everything mixed in. But for some reason, you know, the Vietnamese, they love to play their music loud. I don't know if you guys know this, but Vietnamese, they like loud
Oh yeah,
music.
we know.
Oh yeah, no, I have no idea.
I have no
Please do.
idea. Like,
I worked in a club. I worked in like 8 bars in downtown Orlando, and I know loud music. It's another level of loud. They took that volume to the next level. But the reason I bring it up is because a lot of those, they have a separate like sink for throwing up. So you can come in and throw up and then go back out and drink. Literally just for throwing up.
no bucket.
No bucket. It's like it looks like one of those water trough urinals.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's
God.
just for throwing
I
up.
bet you it's fucking rank.
But I mean, they have like the bathroom not chauffeur, but attendants that clean everything, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a very interesting. I go in, just go and say hi, but that's not my scene. It's too loud. You can't even talk to your friend in there.
Here too, like all the Wagnyao here is like fucking annoyingly loud. Like, if it got good sound and it's loud, I get it. But it's just loud.
It's like loud for no reason.
Yeah, it's loud for no fucking reason.
I don't think it makes a difference. Like having loud music, but you can still talk to the person next to you. Good music, you're vibing. Versus so loud, it's not gonna make it any better being that loud. You
No.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's one thing I don't understand.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're all gonna have ear, like, you know.
I had one of my funnier comments that I've ever had was from Heineken, the official account. Vietnamese, we all meow on the floor, and I go, oh, you know, you're partying with Vietnamese, and my Apple Watch says loud environment. And it wasn't music. There was no music. They were just talking.
Dude, they talk over each other,
I
right?
know.
Yeah.
And then they were all drinking Heineken, so Heineken said something like, oh, you know it's a good party.
Yeah.
It's all Heineken on the floor.
Yeah.
Heineken, I don't know if you realize that a large percentage of your customer base is Vietnamese.
Yeah, we chirp out because back in the day it was Budweiser, you know, the red old man beer. And then they switched to Heineken all of a sudden, you know what I mean? They just fucking changed colors from
And
red to green.
It's such a big difference too, because the Heineken in Vietnam is so much lighter than the Heineken here. Same company, same branding, same label. Yet
I'll call it
here,
content.
when my sister-in-law moved here in 2019, I think, she, you know, in Vietnam, she could drink multiple beers, multiple Heinekens. Whereas here, like 2 would put her under, have a headache and everything else, like way different.
And they drink with ice.
And with ice, yes.
So it's watered down on top of water now, right? No wonder they go all night.
Very hydrating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a good move on the Vietnamese part. You know, this is one thing I've taken from living abroad for so long. You know, I'm all for Vietnam. I always push Vietnam and whatnot. But I think it would do Americans and people in general, but especially Americans, a lot of good if that gap year where you went and lived somewhere else.
Yeah.
You did Europe, you did Africa, Asia, wherever. If you actually went and lived in a culture for 3 to 6 months, a year, something like that, I think it would reduce a lot of the bigotry and racism here.
I agree.
Because I think a lot of that just comes from ignorance. You don't understand why Vietnamese sing karaoke so loud. And you hate your neighbors because they're so loud. But if you went to Vietnam and realized that's what everybody does,
It's a cultural
then
thing,
you
you know
kind
what I
of
mean?
start to understand, you know? Like, there's certain things in cultures that you just don't get until you live abroad. And even though I've only lived in Vietnam, when I see other cultures doing something, I go, yeah, you know, but that's probably something with their culture. So
Yeah.
I should think twice before I go and judge what they're doing.
Well, like here, we live amongst a lot of Latinos, you know, like Hispanics. And if you have a Hispanic, you live in Hispanic, it's going to be loud during the weekend. You know what I mean? They're singing till 3 or 4 in the morning. You know, that's all you hear, right? And then the Vietnamese will bust out their karaoke. Oh, you want to do
No, every 4th of July, bro. It's
Oh,
the firework battle.
Dude.
So like, yeah, the Mexicans will pop off theirs, and then like we'll pop off ours, and we'll just firework battle.
I heard some last night after the Super Bowl. I was like, I didn't know y'all did that out here.
Oh, dude,
we do
it
that,
goes
yeah.
wild. Yeah.
Kentucky's pretty crazy with it. Florida's wild with it, but here, there were some loud ones last night.
How's the Little Saigon in Florida?
You know, it has a lot of history. And it actually all ties together. I did a tour and went to a place called Anhom, and I talked to the guy working there. He's like, yeah, my parents started this in like 75. It's been around forever. Last time I went back, there's a place called Mills Market where they have a Banh Mi Boy, a couple other places, and it turns out his family has that as well. So there's a lot of established families that have restaurants there.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. And they do a lot of fusion. I'm sure y'all have that here, but they do a lot of fusion dishes with it.
I heard Mix Miyagi's doing some stuff out there. He's throwing the night market.
I worked with him on the night market. And,
shout out to Mix Miyagi, man.
Yeah, always been cool with me. Really nice guy. Songs are great. And I worked with him in Tampa 2 years ago. And then this year, I did the Lunar New Year Festival. Got to MC that festival with him. So
yeah, he's pretty active in that community now. You know, last 2-3 years, I think, right? Yeah, so you know, he's bringing that culture up. He's all about it, you know, and he's putting Florida on the map with the night market.
I think, you know, I was shocked. You know, like I said before, with going to Little Saigon, living around Little Saigon before I went to Vietnam, and then after, and realizing how big that community is in Orlando. You know, there's a lot of people come out there.
So now your first visit here to Little Saigon, Orange County, California.
First one.
What's your take on this, man?
It's wild. You know, I've been to Bel Air in Houston. That street is, you know, looks like this, but on one street. You know, I've been to Norcross and Duluth in Georgia. You know, there's pockets where there's a lot of Vietnamese, but I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, I mean,
like around this Phúc Mập area.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind how every single thing is Vietnamese.
Dude.
And if it wasn't for certain aspects of Californian laws and whatnot, I could see myself living here in the future.
you don't want to pay the fucking weather tax.
There you go. I saw the gas prices. I'm like, is that all diesel? What is that? Like, why is it so expensive? Like,
What is this?
What is this,
Is
man?
this avocado toast? What is this?
I went in Walmart and everything was in a locked cage. I'm like, what the heck? Press a button. All I want is some shaving cream. What the
We're still here.
Yeah. There's thievery. You know, a little bit of thievery here. You know?
But I got to be honest, I'm very impressed, and I think it's cool how everybody has stayed in this area and built it up to what it is. You know what I mean? Like, and one thing I always get Vietnamese abroad. Let me ask y'all: do you know where your store is in Phúc Lạp Thọ? Do you know what Phúc Lạp Thọ means?
I did, but I'm probably gonna.
It's like the three wise men, right?
Okay, but what do those words mean?
Phúc Lạp Thọ.
Here's Phúc Mập, so that's one.
It's like was it? Fuck, my brain just stopped working.
Yeah.
It's like health, wealth, and like wisdom.
So Phúc is like happiness, right? Lap is luck, and Thọ is like Tuổi Thọ, like in terms of longevity and age and whatever, right? So I like that question here because everybody tells me to go to Phúc Lạp Thọ in other cities, right? They're like, oh, you got to check out Phúc Lạp Thọ. I'm like, what's that mean? They go, well, I don't know. It's just the market. I'm like, yeah, but get deeper into your Vietnamese, and little things like this are going to stand out. You know what I mean? Like, are you guys familiar with, let's say, like Từ Hán Việt at all?
No, not at all.
That's an interesting rabbit hole to go into because a big percentage of Vietnamese comes from Chinese. Just like our English words will have Latin roots, right? Same thing with that. You'll get Từ Hán Việt, which is Chinese root words, okay? And like my tutor gave me one back in the day, which explained this whole thing to me. Let's take, who's got a phone? I know we all.
Nobody has phones right now.
Okay. So, there we go. What is this in Vietnamese?
iPhone.
Okay. iPhone. Let's go more proper.
Điện thoại.
Điện thoại. Okay.
Yeah.
What does điện mean?
Electric, battery.
Electric. What is thoại?
Phone.
I don't know.
Phone.
Conversation.
Oh.
Thoại, right?
Yeah.
So it's an electric conversation, but that's a bit weird because in Vietnamese grammar it should be thoại điện, right? It should be the other way around. But if it's Từ Hán Việt, if it's a Chinese root word, then the grammar gets flipped and it's similar to English versus Vietnamese, which is more like the Spanish where the adjective goes after, right? So when you have Từ Hán Việt, it's going to be more like điện thoại, electric conversation versus conversation electric.
Thoại điện.
There you go, thoại điện.
Thằng ngu.
Okay, how did they say message, like texting, you know what I mean?
So that is the message. The noun is tin nhắn, and then the two messages nhắn tin, Because you remember, like, Tom Tin is information, so you look at Tin as like the message, you know?
I worked at a cell phone store for a couple of years, right? And then culture shock to me. Vietnamese come in and they when they found out I'm Vietnamese, they go, hey, anh sửa cái ai lao cho Dũng ơi. I go, what the hell is ai lao, dude? I go, ai lao á, and then they keep saying it louder and louder. I go, có biết cái gì ai lao không? I go, what the fuck? Yo, you're loud. Ai lao. Okay?
I know. You loud too.
You loud. I loud.
That's a good one. I like that.
Do they say I clown or do they say I lao?
I lao sounds more Vietnamese to me. I don't get into the phone conversations too much, but I feel like there's a UFC fighter, Mackenzie Dern, right? And she went and lived in Brazil for a while. She's really good at jiu-jitsu. And you can watch her interviews over time. She went from speaking English as an American, coming from America, to having a Brazilian English accent.
All broken.
Everybody made fun of her for that. But then, after I lived in Vietnam for a long time, I started copying my students. I was like, oh, do you have Facebook? They go, what is Facebook? I go, you know, Facebook. Because I said, teacher, you have Facebook?
Yeah.
Add me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, so you kind of pick up those little nuances from how they speak English, not even realizing it being a native speaker yourself.
Well, us like when we explain stuff to our parents, we have to say it how they understand it. So we started doing the same thing. So I can't say magnolia. I say magnolia. Okay, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or Euclid. Okay. Then they understand. If I said Euclid, they would have no idea. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Cinnamon Toast.
Oh yeah.
Ben on Instagram. I did a remix of one of his videos. His dad wrote a note on the microwave, and he called it "If you put stuff in the microwave." That.
Microwave.
So I did a lesson on microwave. Actually, this is lobby sound. You know. So that was shout out Cinnamon Toast. That was a pretty funny one. First time I'd heard microwave from the microwave.
But we should bring all the Vietnamese creators to one place and just have a good time.
We'll do like a party.
Yeah, let's do
fun.
a party. Yeah. You down?
I'll be down.
Bro, this has been a good time learning, man.
I'm happy to help, and I'm happy you guys are interested in talking to me because my family's getting tired of talking to me. So I gotta get somebody else. They realize the tradition of family all living in the same house in Vietnam might need to be changed after having Phúc Mập live with them.
Well, Phúc Mập, thank you for being here with Nhậu With Us, man. Dude, it's been a
yo.
100%. Do they say that? All right.
Yeah, I do it as a joke at weddings to get people drunk.